And then you make the point in here that if you can succeed here, you can succeed anywhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the, you know...
Are we that bad?
We're that good. So I actually got a very peculiar reaction when I started out on the research for this book. I started arranging meetings with CEOs of global companies. And the original working title of the book was called Winning in India. Okay, it was just a working title. And 8 out of 10 CEOs say, why bother? And that's not the question I was expecting to hear or wanting to hear, right? They're saying, why bother winning in India when your whole country is going sideways? And that's the fundamental question I, in fact, decided to lead the book with, which is, does India really matter? And I came to the conclusion that India matters for several reasons. Of course, it's an important market. If you have 1.2 billion people and, with large aspirations, a country on the move, even when you have bad government, it's a bit unstoppable. But the really important reason why India matters is because much of the world looks like us, for good or for worse. Okay? The things that I call chaos, whether it's corruption or bureaucracy or volatility and uncertainty, these are not unique to India. They're defining characteristics of every emerging market. And companies that think, hey, I'll go escape to Indonesia or Nigeria, they're probably in for a bit of a wake-up call. They'll find themselves on familiar territory again. And at least India has this huge potential out there and a decent talent pool, some institutions. And therefore, while it's a grand challenge, if you can make it here, you develop, I saw company after company that had succeeded here, develop the mindset, capabilities, products, and business models that they were then able to successfully transfer to other parts of the world. And that's why the subtitle of the book is Win in India, Win Everywhere. I think there's pretty strong circumstantial evidence that would support that.
Okay, so now from the macro, I want to get to personal.
Oh no, that wasn't part of the deal.
One of the things that I think a lot of us want to know, given that you worked at Microsoft for so long, right, is did Steve Ballmer ever yell at you? And did that help make you a better person or a...
It did. It caused me to go out and write the book. No, Steve's an extraordinarily colorful person. And, while we didn't always see eye to eye on the same things, particularly about the ways in which Microsoft needed to do things differently in India, what amazed me is here's this guy who's 55 and he's worth $17 billion and he can still tear his vocal cords, screaming out of passion for the company. I reached 48 and I couldn't do that. And so, yeah, we've had our significant moments, but yeah.
What was the, I read most of the book and most of the examples. And as you wrote the book, what did you discover that was counterintuitive, that you didn't think would come out as one of the themes that you discovered?
Well, probably the most important thing is it's all about the software of an organization. It's about mindset and culture and organizational capabilities. I hadn't expected that to be really the dominant stuff. I had thought it would be about strategies and product market stuff and investments and all that. But as I began to see it as an iceberg, all those things are the tip of the iceberg above the surface. You see, the recipe for success in India is actually quite obvious. You guys, McKinsey wrote about it 2 years before I even started on this journey. It was given away for free, lo and behold.
I know, we should have written a book.
Exactly. But the really interesting question, though, is, hey, if it's so obvious, why are 1 in 100 companies actually doing it? And that turned out to be the most important question. It's around the software of the organization. And most importantly, the software of the global CEO. Because if that person doesn't get it, it ain't going to happen. And that's sadly the situation at too many companies.
Okay. I think we'll go into some more of the aspects of the book, but at this point, let me introduce a very interesting panel many of whom, as I said, have been featured in the book, and ask them to come up here, and then we'll have a conversation amongst us. So can I ask, and I'll just, I think all of you know them, but I'll just briefly introduce them. So can I ask Naina Lal Kidwai? Naina turns out to be an HBS graduate, so welcome. And she's been with HSBC Bank for many years and is vice chairman, country head, etc. Of HSBC for many years.
And the head of FICCI.
And the head of FICCI, that's right.
So you have 3 reasons for being on this perch tonight, Naina. Thank you.
Can I ask Vipin Sondhi, who is, Vipin has been, there are many stories in the book about JCB. For those of you who don't know what JCB is, they make many of the excavators in India and have a fantastic market share in India. It's a British company. And so I understand that you all are taking this week off because Murray has now won. So thank you for coming on your holiday.
But Murray is Scottish.
Oh, British. British. So Vipin, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting.
And Helios. Helios has headed Nestle in India for many years, has headed Nestle in many parts of the world, and is chairman of Nestle India even as he moves back to Switzerland. And Nandan, you know, we had to have a bureaucrat just to finish up this.
That's too much.
So Nandan, I think Nandan needs no introduction to all of you, and if he does, then, you know, I don't know where you've been for the last 15 years. So Nandan, I won't. The only story I will tell you about Nandan, the introduction that you may or may not know, is that Nandan and I were at IIT together, and I don't believe I ragged him at that point, which probably explains why you were so successful.
Different hostel.
Different hostel. So first of all, thank you so much for coming, and I had given strict instructions to the panelists that they should actually read the book. And if you had been HBS graduates, you would know that you have to do case preparation before you come to class because somebody might call on you, right? That's me. Okay, so I have actually not told this group what kinds of questions I'm going to ask them. I didn't even tell Ravi what kinds of questions I would ask him. So
much as I tried.
Ravi did send me, you know, he said, please ask me the following questions. And I didn't think they were that interesting. He didn't ask me to ask about Steve, by the way, just so you're aware. So I thought I would just start out and perhaps I'll just ask a very short question to each of you, and if you want to jump in on any of those, please do. I think because we do want to have it as a discussion. I think one of the interesting things that you talk about in the book is innovation in India. And you talk about these companies that have been successful have been very innovative and come up with innovations. On the other hand, most discussions we have about innovations, you know, India is not considered to be the source for great innovation, especially in terms of product. So I wonder if you could just comment on, you know, what kind of innovation was important in being successful in India and how important that was to the success of each of your companies. Wendy, can I start with you?
We're very fortunate actually, and I think I must take it first from what Ravi said, that our group chairman loves India and has been coming here for the last 35 or 40 years. And therefore we are very lucky that from a mind space and mindset issue, we had the best sponsor that we could have from a company standpoint. On product innovation, I think what we looked at really was we like flexibility. We like to sweat each asset. We like it to be reliable, and we like to use any fuel regardless of what that fuel is, and if it doesn't work, then we blame the company. So in all these aspects, we just had to make sure that we innovate and we utilize the product 3 or 4 times more than anywhere else in the world. So it had to be rugged, solid, and had to work on a combination of diesel and any other mixture, which could be kerosene, which could be anything. And these were the innovations which were conducted in India to make it reliable.
Okay. Any other on innovation?
Well, in the food, there is this element of get to know exactly what the insights about what the consumers, what the differences in the region, differences in the countries, and so on. And I don't think that just one example. I don't think people would believe that in India the massive amount of noodles, which is Chinese, is eaten today. And the secret of this has been to really get to know the palate, the taste, and have a tremendous insight on the way that people cook, eat, babies, specifically in our case. And this is one example, which is the noodle. But the other one is interesting. We adapted some of the products with some technologies, chocolate, for example, where we managed to have a higher heat resistance. And I remember I was head of R&D at the time, and India was the first country which used this technology, which today available pretty much in all the markets, Nestle, where we have a high temperature or something like that. So it's maybe we don't talk too much about the innovations which are happening, but if we don't innovate, there is no way that we're going to be successful in the business, wherever we are. So there are innovations, and there's something I have heard in India when I arrived. There was an article about reverse innovation, where the innovation comes, let's say, from the developer to the developing, or the emerged to the emerging, and it's in fact today the other way around, with the economical difficulties in I would say Western Europe and US. Many of the things that we do here in terms of cost optimization, portion, and so on and so forth, is being exported to this market now, which is a kind of all reverse innovation.
And
Coming from
sorry.
Good.
Yeah.